Well, good morning on this beautiful Saturday morning here, coming to you live from East Tennessee. Let's see if I can get this thing tilted down just a wiggle. There we go. Looks a little bit better. How are you this morning? Everybody doing good? It's about 5 minutes till 10. I had a few extra minutes. I just got off the phone. I was conducting some business over the phone. I just got back in. I had to run out to the bank, and I had to stop by and get me a caramel frappe. I'm finishing it off. Got my wife a good cup of hot caramel macchiato. And I'll drink my hot coffee, but this new drink that's come out, it's the first time I've ever drunk hot coffee, but I like it. It's not really coffee, but it is. I mean, it's a frappuccino. It's got a rich, deep chocolate taste and lots of caramel, and I love it. I think I'm addicted now. I confess my sins before you. I am addicted to this new drink, and it's called a caramel ribbon crunch frappuccino, frozen caramel crunch frappuccino, and it is absolutely awesome. I'm not sure what all they put in it, but the first time I tasted it, I fell in love with it because I love coffee, and I love a deep coffee taste. I like my coffee strong. I remember, and I shouldn't say this probably, but I remember watching Urkel. You remember Urkel? Did I do that? He'd always say, he liked his coffee like his women hot and black. I shouldn't say that, but that's so funny. We used to watch Urkel and laugh. My kids loved it. I did too. Urkel, did I do that? Oh, my soul, I'm in one of them moods today, but I feel pretty good. Thank you for praying for me. I had a good week this week. I've done more this week than I've done in a long time. I've got to go out quite a bit and spend some time with my wife out shopping and doing some errands, and I've been out just about every day, and for me that's a real change because I usually have stayed in. I've just not felt good ever since I had my last back procedure, and then the physical therapy knocked me out for about 4 or 5 days, and I've just not been well, and it's been down, missed all the church, missed everything, but the last week has been the best week I've had probably in a couple of months. I think God's answering your prayers and answering mine, and I praise Him for it. I'm excited about getting back on the road and starting to preach here. We'll go to our first meeting the end of this month for Labor Day camp meeting up in LaGrange, Kentucky. I went up there for about 20-some years every year until I got cancer, and so I get to go back. This is the first time I've been in 3 years, and I'm excited to see the church. One of my best friends in all the ministry, Brother Dave Woosley, and he holds the camp meeting. Their homecomings on Sunday. Their camp meeting starts then, and it goes through Wednesday. And I've always preached every morning to kick off the morning services, and Dave McCracken preaches at night. So I'm not scheduled to preach this year like I have been, but I'm sure I'll preach at least one time. And I'll preach every morning if he wants me to, but he hasn't asked me to. But anyway, that's what I've always done. But I'm excited about getting back in my first meeting. And then after I come back from that, I've got meetings on Sundays in South Carolina, North Carolina, different places. I'll be in North Carolina on the 28th of September. And then I'll be with my son in the tent meeting starting on the 29th down in the Salisbury area, China Grove area. And then I've got a 4-day meeting out in Kansas the first week of November, a Sunday through Wednesday. And we'll hang around and rest a day or so, and then leave on Friday, headed back, and come through Missouri. And I've got a Sunday through Tuesday meeting in Missouri. And then I've got some Sundays. I got a couple Sundays in South Carolina, one down in Walterboro area, then one down not too far out of Spartanburg, Greenville area. Just a Sunday morning, this Sunday service. One of them's a Sunday morning only. The other one I'll be there all day Sunday. And then I got another in North Carolina on Sunday morning. I've got several other that are asking me about preaching some Sundays, but I haven't booked them yet. So I've got probably, 15, 16, 17 services booked, something like that. And that's the first time in 3 years. So I'm excited about that. And so it's just been a good week. I'm encouraged. My book is finished, ready to go to the printers as soon as I can talk to the publisher this week. I got to get my photographs, all my pictures on a thumb drive, and just go over some things with him on a conference call, and after that, and once he gets everything in his hands, the pictures, that's it. It's already designed, and they'll lay it out and ready to take it to the printers. I'm thinking probably there'll be a pre-launch sometimes in September, and we're praying for it to come back the very end of September, ready to ship and sell. And so as far as picking them up, they'll already be here sometime at the end of September, but pre-launch will probably sometime middle of September is what I'm hoping. and be just good for me. I'll be right back on the road. I'm hoping it'll be done for my birthday on the 28th of September, and then for the 10th meeting starting the 29th. Be a good place to promote them and get them started right off the bat. So excited about that. And then I've got a new podcast starting Monday. It's called Preacher's Podcast. It's going to be 10 minutes. You say, can you do that? Yeah, I did radio for years. I did 7 stations, and it's a 15-minute broadcast every day. And so I can time myself. And so this is just going to be a 10-minute message. I may go through a book of the Bible. I may do a series. It may just be a 10-minute thought. I've got a lot of words I want to take and use them as a springboard. Say, like, do a 10-minute message on justification or propitiation or whatever, and just have a 10-minute message. Go. Read the scripture and go 10 minutes, preach, and then close it out just like you're on the radio. So that will start Monday, and it won't be at a set time. It'll be at various times, but it's going to be short enough that you can watch it anytime. You can just pull it up while you're taking a break at work, or while you're driving to work, or driving to the drugstore or something. You can just listen to a quick 10-minute sermon. And so we're going to do the Preacher's Podcast. And it's already on my Facebook advertising, and it'll start Monday. And so some of the other podcasts I'll still do. I'll still do some questions and answers. I'll still do On the Back Porch like I am today. And I'll still do some teaching of the 3M Institute. Once in a while we'll do some things. We may do some doctrinal teaching. But I do want to do a podcast. It's like a radio program every day. So I'm excited about that. And then just a lot of other things that God's working. He's answered a lot of prayers this week. God really answered some really prayers this last 2 weeks, met some needs, and I was just amazed at what God did. Had some needs I was praying about, and the Lord just supernaturally, I just can't go in to tell you exactly what He did, but I'm telling you, God's a good God, amen. He meets our needs. He's done this for us ever since we've been in the ministry, but here since we had cancer, I've watched God do some of the greatest miracles, supernatural miracles, finances, physically. Even me being here is a miracle, because, I didn't expect to be here. I'd already made plans to die, I'm just being honest. And the first doctor that, discovered my cancer, and he basically said it was incurable and inoperable, and basically said the best we can do is try to extend your days, enjoy your life, go home and enjoy the rest of your life, ever how long it is. And I was looking at 1 to 2 years is what I was expecting, by how bad it was. Because for having metastatic prostate, it had spread. It was all my prostate. Everything they took, every sample, had at least 70% cancer in my prostate. And then it was breaking through the bladder wall. It was in the rectal area. There were 3 lymph nodes that had large tumors, lesions, as they call them, tumors, cancerous tumors. And then I had a spot here in my upper abdomen, right here about below your sternum, where I'm pointing right there. And then I had a spot here on the left side of my neck. And that was what they saw in the PET scan. So it was spreading. And they thought it may have gotten into my bones. And thank God it didn't. If it had gotten into my bones, then they were looking at maybe a year at the most for me to live. But out of that, that was like in the January of 23. They called me December 27th in 2022. So all this, the PET scan results come back in January 23. And then I took my first injection. I had injections so often, and then I started chemo, and then I started radiation. But from the first injection in February, from that PET scan in January, the first injection in February, to the second PET scan, which is around August or September of 23, from that time until then, every place, hey, Holly, can't wait to see you. You're watching from work? Okay, I'll see you Tuesday. I'll probably talk to you Monday. We're coming in Monday, but I'll see you Tuesday. And so, love you. Have a good day at work today. I'm enjoying my frat. Wish you had one. You can get one. But anyway, that first PET scan to the second PET scan, there was no cancer showed up. And it's still, the blood work and the PSA and all was still high. But the cancer on the PET scan showed that it was nothing showing just in the first 6 months. Doctor couldn't believe it. He had me on a 2-year chemo and radiation plan. And so they kept me on the chemo. And I went for 17 months every day on chemo and injections ever so often. And 6 weeks of radiation. And so toward the end of the 17 months, around the 12, 13, 14 month era, I started getting real sick, and I was rushed to the hospital 4 times from my home. Thought I was having a heart attack. I couldn't breathe. My blood pressure was sky high. My heart rate was out the ceiling. And they rushed me to the hospital the 3rd time I went. Next to the last time, I was there 4 days. They ran every test they could, a stress test, everything. I couldn't do the physical stress test. They did the one, this nuclear stress test. I did it. They had every kind of test you can, and they couldn't find anything except what they found out and figured out my chemo. My body was reacting to the chemo. So I went to my cancer doctor. It was like in July of last year. And he says, your body is reacting to the chemo. He said, we're about 16, 17 months in. He said, I think we've got enough, far enough along. And he said, your PET scans are good. But he said, I think we're far enough along to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So he said, are you willing to come off the chemo? I said, if you don't take me off, I'm coming off myself. I said, I can't take it anymore. I said, I'm so sick, and not from the cancer. I'm just sick from the chemo. So they took me off in July, and I had to wing off. I had to go down every other day. I was on steroids every day for almost 2 years. You know what steroids do to you. So I had to wind down, cut it down doses a little at a time. And the chemo, same way, had to take it like one day, not a day, another day, then take a day off. And so finally, by about the end of August, I cleared out of all my medicines that were taken, except some I'm still taking, natural stuff. And then the last PET scan showed no cancer whatsoever. And all my blood work is good. Now, this last blood work, we did have one thing that did go up a little bit, which is not what we want to see. But anyway, I dropped my pick. Well, I got another one. I ain't going to let that bother me. I'll use this other one. So anyway, but God's been so good. So even me being here today is a miracle. Uh-oh. I'm still here. Sorry. Wow. That's the first time I've ever done that. I'm using a new stand. I bought a stand, and the phone just stands on it. It has nothing to strap it. And I hit my knee on the table, and we lost you. But I'm back. No harm done. So, no foul. So anyway, I'm just here just to say all that, to say this, that my even being here is a miracle. But God's been working miracles. He's done so much in the last 2.5 years that I could put it all in a book, and it'd take more than one book to tell it all. God's been so good, been so faithful. Hey, Brother Gene, Miss Amber, all you that are tuning in. So anyway, I just want to do something a little this morning, do a little on the back porch with you. And I got a song on my heart, so just kind of sit back, and I'll finish my frapping a little bit. Troublesome times are here, filling men's hearts with fear. Freedom we all hold dear, now it's at stake. Humble your hearts to God, safe from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom, trumpets will sound. All the dead shall rise, righteousness in the skies, going where no one dies, heavenward bound. Trouble will soon be o'er, happy forevermore, when we reach on that shore, free from all care. Rising up in the skies, telling this world goodbye, only them shall fly, glory to share. Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom, trumpets will sound. All of the dead shall rise, righteous meet in the skies, going where no one dies, everywhere bound. Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom, trumpets will sound. All of the dead shall rise, righteous meet in the skies, going where no one dies, everywhere bound. You like that? Jesus is coming soon. That's an oldie goldie. I like that. The Oak Ridge and Blue Ridge Quartet used to sing that when it first came out, and we sung it in the quartet and sung it at church. Me and my brother sung it, and my sister. And so I just kind of pulled that out of the hat this morning. Thought that'd be a good one, because I'm going to tell you something, my friend. Whether you're saved or lost, if you're watching this morning, you need to understand this is the truth. Jesus Christ is coming soon. And it could be today. Had to have a sweet. It's so good. And a lot of folks don't believe it. Lost and saved, just kind of living like Jesus ain't never coming. But I'm telling you, he could come today. The stage is being set. Everything is coming together. The nation of Israel in the Middle East is setting the stage for the coming return of Christ. Of course, the rapture of the church is going to take place before Jesus sets up his kingdom. And the rapture is going to get us out of here. I can't wait. We're going to be called out of here in the moment of a twinkling of an eye. Hey, Brother Melvin, and we'll be with Jesus Christ, and we'll live with him and reign with him when he comes back in the second coming. There in Revelation 19, he'll come back on white horses. We'll be with him and we'll watch him as he speaks with the voice of judgment and the word of God and the King of kings and Lord of lords, and he'll destroy the Antichrist, his army. And the beast and the false prophet will be cast into the lake of fire. Satan will be bound for 1,000 years in the bottomless pit. And we will absolutely live and reign with him on the earth for 1,000 years. And then the new heaven and new earth will take place, and we'll be with him forever throughout all eternity. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a new body. I'm excited about seeing Jesus. I'm excited about seeing my loved ones. I got a lot of friends. I got more on the other side than I got here. And I can't wait. Lost a lot of preachers in the last 10 years. And, you know, I'll be 70 next year, and so that age, you start seeing a lot of your friends pass away. And so I've lost a lot of my preacher friends that we've spent a life together serving. We preached together, prayed together, cried together, traveled together. Many of them, me and my families traveled off together, been in meetings and tents and crusades and foreign meetings, foreign trips. Had a lot of preachers that traveled overseas with me, and some that have gone with me to meetings like that are in heaven now. And if Jesus doesn't come soon, I'll be there with them. And I'll be waiting on you. And if I get there before you do, I'll wait for you somewhere around the gate or somewhere. If you find Jesus, if you find him, I'll be somewhere where Jesus is. I'm going to stay close to him for about 2 or 3 million years and just thank him for all he's done for me. He's been good to me. I come out of a drunkard's home, just a nobody. And Jesus saved me. Had a godly mama. She kept us in church, and preacher preached. And 1963, as a young boy, I walked out and got saved. Got baptized in Newsom's Pond over in the Denton area in Davidson County, and have been saved ever since. Got married, and God called me to preach, and I surrendered after running for a while. God backed me in the corner, kind of like Reeves Howell, the book The Intercessor. Reeves Howell, God had called him to do something, he didn't want to do it, and he'd say, Reeves, are you willing? The Holy Spirit said, you willing? He'd say, no, Lord, I'm not willing. And finally, at the last minute, the Holy Spirit says, Reeves, are you willing? He said, no, Lord, I'm not willing. Then the Holy Spirit says, Reeves, are you willing to be made willing? And I remember reading that, and I thought, man, that was me. I wasn't willing, but Jesus made me willing to be willing. My mama could do that. My mama knew how to make me willing to be willing. She'd tell me to do something, and I didn't want to do it. I wasn't willing, but she knew how to make me willing to be willing. You're exactly right. And folks say, well, God can't make you do nothing. No, God, listen, you're free will. You make your own decision. But God knows how to make you willing to be willing. And God made me willing to be willing. He got me in the corner, and I said, I hollered calf rope. You know how they used to do, us boys used to play, and they get you down and make you holler calf rope. I don't know where that come from. I don't know why. It's holler calf rope, and they let you go. So I hollered calf rope that day, and God took me as I was and made me what I am, and I ain't much, but what I am by the grace of God. So I hope you're going to have a good weekend and be in church tomorrow, the Lord's Day. I'm excited about going to church tomorrow, and I'll drag my old Gibson. I thought about taking my Martin tomorrow. I love my Martin, but I'm going to tell you, I've gotten spoiled with this Gibson. I've never had a J45 Gibson for my own. My brother had one. Matter of fact, this same year, 1971. I told him, I saw him here a few months ago, I told him I'd found me a Gibson. He couldn't believe I'd bought a Gibson. I said, yeah, I found me a 1971 J45 Sunburst. He said, maybe the one I sold. I said, you sell yours? He said, yeah. I said, I sold mine. So I showed the pictures. No, that's not mine. He said, mine he had a place somewhere on his. I said, well, I found this one here in Kingsport. A man and his wife had it. They play bluegrass gospel, and I got to know them. Just sweet people, Tom and Beverly. And matter of fact, I was listening to them this week. They were playing up in Galax, over in Galax, Virginia, at the Fiddlers Convention. And Tom was playing Martin, and I bought this from him. gave me a good deal. I didn't pay near what it's worth. It's worth a whole lot more than I paid for it. But it's a 1971. I'm telling you, it is in marvelous shape. This got the best sound to it. Of course, I got a capo on it now, 4 down. It's got the best ring. Isn't that sweet? Fingers stiff this morning, can't hit them notes right, but I love my old Gibson. It's got a good sound to it, and I need to put some strings on it, but anyway, I love it, and I'll get it out there tomorrow. We'll head to the church, and I'll play. I sit over in the corner over there beside the piano, and we got a brand new piano at church too. We've been raising the money for it, and piano players we got now. We got a dozen, 15 piano players at the church. There's a different one plays every week. Some play for the special, some play for the choir, some play for congregation, some play on Wednesdays, some play on Sundays. Just unbelievable the talent we got in our church. And so the main lady that's really the head pianist, she was so excited. She's the one that went and picked it out, her and the song leader, the assistant pastor. And so she found this one. It's like a Steinway. It's made by Steinway, but it's a Boston. And I played it the other Sunday when we first got it. I played it the first Sunday I went in after we'd gotten it. And I sat down, and the action on that thing is unbelievable. When I hit those keys, like most things are weighted. The real pianos have you can feel the pressure. And when you buy like a keyboard, some of them have what they call weighted keys, so it makes it feel like a real piano, not just a little piece of plastic you're hitting. But the ivories on the piano have some of them are stronger tension than others. But when I hit these, I've never felt one quite like this. And it's got such a sweet sound. It's so pure. There's no wangy-tangy in the highs, and the lows don't vibrate. It's a clear low, almost like a stand-up bass. It's got that pure bass end, and when I sat down to play it, I couldn't believe it. And it's got a totally different sound than the one we had. We had a Kiowa. I believe it was a Kiowa, and I think they've had it there. They said 50 years. The church is 245 years old. It was started out of the last Great Awakening, or George Whitefield. I'll tell you the story. George Whitefield in the Great Awakening, was moved of God to travel and preach all over the country. And Stubble Stearns was saved under George Whitefield's preaching. And Stubble Stearns came down to North Carolina over at Sandy Creek. And some of you preachers, and probably some of you church members, have been to Sandy Creek, where there's an old log church, and then the church that's there. They're not the originals. The old original church had been burnt down, and so this has been rebuilt. But Sandy Creek was a church started by Stubble Stearns and a handful of people that came down from Pennsylvania, saved during the Great Awakening. And so, to make a long story short, within a matter of a year or two, the church at Sandy Creek got to be running close to 500 or 600 people, had a spirit of revival that carried down to Sandy Creek, North Carolina. And history records, and I got it upstairs in my library, books on the Sandy Creek revival and revival in the Carolinas. And from Sandy Creek, out of that revival movement under Stubble Stearns, they say there's up to 5,000 Baptist churches that were started out of Stubble Stearns and his church there in Sandy Creek. Well, one of his preachers crossed over the mountains of North Carolina, and this, where I'm at now in East Tennessee, it was still North Carolina. It was not yet called Tennessee in 1778, 1779. So 245 years ago, you figure it out. It's the late 70s. And so he came across the mountains of North Carolina to this part here, that when Benjamin Franklin was still living and had done the Declaration and all that, they were going to call this part of the country Franklin. is going to be known as Franklin. Instead of Tennessee, it was going to be Franklin. That's going to be the state. It's going to be North Carolina, and then this is going to be Franklin. But they talked against that, and so they took the border of Tennessee and moved it farther to the east and took in the part where I'm at now, and it's no longer North Carolina, but it was a part of North Carolina. And Jubal Stearns, a preacher that came across the mountains, started a church in Gray, Tennessee, just a few miles from where our church is now, and started the Buffalo Ridge Baptist Church 245 years ago. And there's only been less than a dozen pastors in the whole 245 years. I think less than a dozen. And some of the family, some of the extended family of the first pastor and the second pastor was at our homecoming last year. We celebrated 245 years we celebrated, and some of the descendants of the first pastor and the second pastor were there in the state of Tennessee House of Representatives, declared a special day and did a long big piece, charter like thing they draw up, like whatever you call it. Anyway, they did recognize Buffalo Ridge Baptist Church for the work it's done, 245 years. And of course, Dr. Lashley was still living then. And I went to Brother Lashley that day. I said, aren't you just proud today? You pastored here 46 years. Aren't you proud to know that this is a Baptist church that's been here for 245 years preaching the gospel? I said, what do you think that attributes to? He said, well, number one, it started out of the spirit of revival. So it was a real church. It wasn't a splinter split, but it was started as a real move of God. He said, and the second thing, he said, God's had great men, not me. He says, not because of me, but he said, all the men that started this church, God had men of God that pastored this church and kept the direction of the church for the gospel. And of course, we've got a good pastor now. And so 245 years, you don't hear that. We're the oldest church in Tennessee, the oldest Baptist church in Tennessee. And there's a big sign out front. The state puts up those big monument plaques and it recognizes Buffalo Ridge Baptist Church as the oldest church in Tennessee, and started 245 years ago. And such a great honor, and I'm a member there. And so I sit over in the corner, and so after 50 years of that piano being there, and it just finally wore out, and they couldn't keep it in tune. In the last couple months or so, it's been out of tune. They had to tune it a little higher, keep stretching. So my guitar, I had to tune it every Sunday because I tune it to standard, and I get there and it'd be a little bit off, just enough to get on your nerves. And so finally went back in and got that new piano. Sounds so good. And of course, we got a great choir, got a great song leader, and got all kinds of specials, young people and families. And then me and my wife sing every now and then, and I sing in Sunday school and teach when I teach. And so it's a great church. We run about 700 or 800, and it's a big church, but we're winning souls. It's one of the strongest mission churches I've ever been part of beside gospel. And a great mission church. I think our mission budget last year was about $1 million. And God blesses. We have Faith Promise, and me and my wife give Faith Promise every we give it once a month because I get slow starvation, get paid once a month. But we pay our tithes and offerings, and then we give a good amount to the missions every month to help support probably close to 200 missionaries. And they are true mission minded, our pastor is. And I told him, I said, that's one thing that I know God sent me here for. And I said, one reason I love him so much, he's got such a heart for missions, and I love missionaries. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a story. I had a missionary couple, a family came out from Middle Tennessee to visit us here about a month or two ago. The Clark family from out at Victory Baptist out in Middle Tennessee. Brother Lloyd Warren is the pastor, but Jim Tedder pastored it for 50-some years. He started the church. One of my dear preacher friends, he's in heaven now. But the Clark family, she got saved under my ministry. I was preaching on hell on a Friday night in their camp meeting, and she got saved. And she just always loved me. They loved my preaching. So they called and said they were going to come visit me one weekend. And they got a room over here in the motel. They had the 2 sons with them. And so they said, we want to go to church with you. So I told the pastor, I said, I'm going to have a visitor with me Sunday, visiting family. I said, they're missionaries out of Brother Warren's church there in Shelbyville. And I said, they'll be with us Sunday morning, so I want you to meet them. And so we walked in Sunday morning, and he met them and honored them and recognized them and had him come up and lead in prayer. Just really showed him a lot of good favor. And then the treasurer came by and gave me an envelope. He said, give this to the missionary that we've used. Said, this is from the church. And I was so thrilled. I don't know how much it was, and I don't really care. But it was a check from our church that our church gave to this missionary family, just visiting with us. Never knew them, never met them. They'd never met them. But the pastor just said, we got a missionary family, let's do something for them at the Treasure Road checkout. And I gave it to them, and that's the kind of church we got. It's not a camp meeting style church where they run the aisles every Sunday, and there's some Sundays it'll be quiet, and people tears, hands wave up, and they'll say amen, and preacher don't preach an hour, he preaches 25, 30 minutes. Well, we don't have a long service, but everything's scriptural, standards, the giving, the love for ministry and missions, the friendliness. It's just, and I don't have any complaints. It's just a wonderful church, a place to be. It's where God put us. It's my home church, and I thank God for that. And you ought to feel that way about your church. If you don't feel that way about your church and your pastor, either you got a problem or you're in the wrong church. And so, hey, Brother Kevin, so I hope you'll be at your church tomorrow, wherever it is. And if you don't have a home church, I invite you to come be with us at Buffalo Ridge there in Gray. And I'd love to be recognize you as and sit with me and welcome you to our church. We have a good Sunday school. Our class is about 75 to 100 people, sometimes more. And Brother Graham teaches. He's a missionary, spent 30 years in Brazil, and he still is a missionary, travels back and forth and still works for the mission board, but he's not living in Brazil anymore. He teaches our class, and then I fill in when he's gone. He's going to be gone. Matter of fact, he and the pastor are leaving in a couple of weeks to go to Brazil for 2 weeks. So I'm going to be teaching that Sunday. And then in September, I'm teaching another Sunday. He's going to be gone, I think, to a conference. And so I'll teach for him. So I teach. I've taught 4 or 5 times in there. So I enjoy it. And Mark, that kind of runs the class, he always says, when you're teaching, will you sing a song for your teachers? I just love hearing you sing. And I said, you don't have much taste for music if you love to hear me sing. I said, my voice is shot. And I said, but I'll sing it for you. And so they put up with me, but I enjoy it. We have a good time. And so anyway, hope you'll be in your place and we'll be in ours. And then I got to head Monday to North Carolina. I had a Tuesday appointment. They changed it to Monday. So we're going down Monday to see my back doctors, and we're just going to stay down there overnight. And I'm going to see a couple of grandkids while I'm there and take them out shopping and eating. We're going to fellowship a little bit and maybe see some other folks while we're down, and just spend a little time there for a couple of days and get my medical stuff done. Hoping we can come up with something on this back, Lord willing, maybe spend some time talking to the doctor. My regular doctor's not back off of leave yet, and that's kind of got me frustrated. This other guy, he and I just don't jihad, and that's no country word. I know some of you don't know what jihad means, but if you lived on farm me and worked a mule, I worked a mule. Jihad is how you talk to the mule. G and jihad. Say jihad, I never did I didn't have to hold the reins of the mule. I tie the reins off to the hames up on top. I just wrap them around, and I'd have the grabs that goes on the log. We'd be snaking logs, and the piling logs, what you know about snaking is what we call them. I'd have the grabs hook them to a log, and I'd say G to the right, jihad to the left. And so jihad is just a phrase we use. But anyway, I don't know how to get off all this stuff. That's just being old. You know, old people talk a lot, and they reminisce and go back because we have so many memories. And young people, can I encourage you, if you still got your grandparents living, you know, or your parents are even older, if you're an older adult and your parents are living, spend time with them and talk to them. Good morning, Miss Faye. I've been praying for you every day. You're on my cancer list. I pray for you every day. And you hang in there. You be encouraged in the Lord. God saved me from cancer and healed me, and God will and can do the same thing for you. So don't you get discouraged. And I know I had to fight it. If it wasn't for my wife, I'd probably give up. But just know this old preacher's praying for you. Me and my wife have you on our list, and we're praying for you every day. So you hang in there, Miss Faye. God's got this. Whatever God's will is, we're just trusting the Lord. So any other of you that have family or friends, or you yourself, if you have cancer, let me know. I want to put you on my list. I pray for you every day and pray that God will touch you and God will restore you and God will let you stay around for many more years to serve Him. Well, I'm going to get off of here. I've rambled enough. Now be looking for Monday for the Preacher's Podcast. It's a 10-minute message. All it'll be, 10-minute message. And then I'll have the other podcasts too. They'll be from time to time. I'll announce them on Facebook. And to help me out, share the Facebook, these reels and these videos I do. Share it with others so I can build up my followers. I think this morning I had 7,896 followers. 4 more will make it 7,900. I want to get to 8,000. That's my next goal. I've got close to 5,000 friends, but I'm getting close to 8,000 followers. Help me get that followers up to 8,000. And then you can help me too by becoming a subscriber. It's not hard. Hit the subscribe button. It'll take you to a secure site. And all you got to do is put the information in. It costs 99 cents a month. You say, well, what good is that? Well, I've got 14 now. I just started this a couple weeks ago. I've got 14 subscribers. My goal is to get 250 to 300 subscribers. And that would be a couple $100 a month to help me build this social media platform to get it up where I want it to be, to buy some more equipment, to buy a good microphone. And I've got my stand now, but buy a good microphone, possibly a good camera, and then also to be able to buy some more programs to help me develop some things that I need to get better at. And so everything you give, every dollar that you give through subscribe, I'll get in my Facebook account every month. It'll go in my account, and I can use that to help build my social media. And then pray for the book. It'll be coming out soon, and you can be a part. So you started the medicine today. Okay, Faith, stay on it faithfully. Stay on it faithfully. Take it every day. And if something happens and you forget it, just take that scoopful and put it in a spoon. And it's really dry. It's almost like talcum powder. And just put it in your mouth and wash it down with some water or ginger ale or cocoa or something. But get it in your system every day. It's better with food. Has no taste to it. And you'll watch it when you put it on your food. If you blow or there's any wind or something, it'll blow it everywhere. It's as fine as talcum powder. First time I used it, and I was in a restaurant, and I put it on my food, and there was a fan over my head, and it was blowing it all over my plate and got it on my shirt. It's really fine, but it has no taste to it. And just 220 milligrams, just that little small scoop, about the end of your finger, little finger. And I believe it'll be a key. And then take your other vitamins, build up your immune system on your vitamins, especially vitamin C. The dosage I told you is what the doctor put me on. I've been on it now for almost 2.5 years. It seems like a lot of dosage, but I'm telling you what, God helped me defeat the cancer, and God's kept me well all of the way. I've had no flu, no cold, no kind of sickness that way. The only problem I've had is my back and dealing with the repercussions of the cancer treatments. But as far as sickness, my immune system stayed strong through all of that. And I know it's because of the vitamins and the supplements. And I started on a modified keto diet, high protein, high fat, no sugar, low carb. And I lost a lot of weight during that because of the cancer treatments. But anyway, God helped me. So you're going to Nashville. Be careful. And I'm praying for you. Don't get discouraged. Keep looking up and trust God. And God's got a purpose. God's got a plan. And God will fulfill His will. Well, I'm going to get off of here. Hope you have a good Saturday. Today's the Sabbath in the Lord's mind. He worked 6 days, took the Sabbath off, created the earth in 6 days, seventh day rested, and the Sabbath is on Saturday. We don't go to church on Sabbath. Some churches do, and that's fine. I don't worship on Saturday. Of course, I worship every day. I'm worshiping now. But we go to church on Sunday, representing the resurrection of the Lord. But Saturday's a good day to celebrate the Sabbath because you work all week long. Sunday's a busy day too, so Saturday's a good day to just kind of flip around, do nothing, take it easy, just relax in the recliner, do a few things around the house that you enjoy doing, get in the yard, working with flowers, go shopping, go out to Hamrick's or Walmart or go to an antique store or something, get out in the sunshine, go have a picnic or go get you a frappe. Get you a good frappe, get you something, just enjoy yourself and enjoy Saturday and get rested up for tomorrow because tomorrow's the Lord's Day. Well, I love all of you. Thank you for tuning in. Tune back again Monday morning. I'll have the time advertised on Facebook by Sunday as to what time we'll be on the air for our 10-minute Preacher's Podcast. And then we'll have their other podcasts too as usual. I'll let you know about them too. Stay in touch. Stay on your knees. Stay close to God. And remember, if I don't see you again on Facebook and the Lord should come before we meet again by way of internet, I will meet you somewhere up above the